Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager, episode 53. Monaco is up next, and Pourchaire, a week behind Doohan, has also leveled up, so he's now a 77 overall. And you can see from here, we've got his pace at 80, his consistency, the smoothness, how he handles the tires has always been at 83. He's very excellent at it, and that's why we're always able to extend stints or make one-stoppers work. But the control and accuracy is what I've been working on lately, and they're both coming up on mid 70s. After that, we'll be able to look at the overtaking adaptability and kind of get the racecraft side of things going. But he still has high growth potential and continues to make fairly rapid progress, now a 77. With the wind tunnel just about to drop in condition, we're going to lose some bonuses going forward. And we have just enough money anyway at 17 million. We're going to go ahead and start that next upgrade and get that on the way. This is the wind tunnel. You can see it's going to come with a pretty healthy bonus to how we make our upgrades going forward. Which, of course, as we move up the grid, as we get in higher constructor position, we have less time. So we need to maximize the use of that time, and this is the way to do so. In seasons 1 and 2, our weakest track has been Monaco, and that is where we are headed next. 15th a year ago. Pourchaire was 2 laps down in 17th. First job is get on the lead lap and stay on the lead lap. But we also have a much better car, and top speed not mattering anywhere near as much here as it does. Low speed, medium speed are important, and we are very good at those. I think we can absolutely contend, which is a very different matter, right, from where we were the last couple of years.
Cars have been racing through Monaco's streets since 1929, and this weekend is no exception, as we get to watch the new generation of world-class drivers take over Monte Carlo. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. Monaco is famous for its many narrow twists and corners, from the brake-heavy Le Rascasse to the treacherous Sand of Ott. There are no proper straights to speak of, and it's extremely hard to overtake here. It sounds like simple advice, but getting up as high on that starting grid as possible is the best plan of attack. At this early stage in the season, there are still plenty of opportunities for things to change. In this sport, there simply are no guarantees. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
Qualifying, Monaco getting underway, and I have not learned my lesson. Happens again, I will. For now, I'm going to continue to stick to the one run in Q1. Last time, a mistake caught out Pourchaire, slowed him down on his lap enough so that he was in the bottom 5. Today, and that's the only time that's happened. I'm seeing a lot of guys out on track right now. Interesting timing on that one. Squeezing a lap in, trying to get some space while the track is clear. Guys are getting their banker laps in very late. Are they only going to make one run? It's only a minute 10 for the lap. It's very short, even though pace is ultimately slow around here. Here we go, into the final phase. Everybody in the pits. And we start to exit pit road. Okay, Pourchaire first. And we're right near the end. Always happens because of our pit box location. You have to wait for an opening to pull out, and there is no opening. So we end up at the back anyway, with just Magnussen behind us. Gasly's the one in front. Let's hope he does not make a mistake and cost us an exit from Q1. Now, in terms of the car, our pace was not good through practice, but that's the used parts and everything turned down. There was a clear difference between soft, medium, and hard. I mean, there's about 1.1, 1.2 seconds, so we probably don't want to be running on the hards here in the race, I would think, with a pretty sizable gap in terms of pace between them. But as I go to wrap up Q1 here, and through Rascasse now, one last turn to get through, and then on to the pit straight. And where we stand, Pourchaire 7th. And Albin, just 11th for him. Really close field. That's good enough for Q2, so we'll take it. We go out, get our banker lap here at the beginning of Q2. Hamilton crosses the start-finish line just ahead of Pourchaire to where we were okay. Pourchaire a little bit ahead of Albin right now. P2, P3, just off of Bottas's pace. That's out of the first 9 drivers. Russell does go faster, so Hamilton did not put in a good lap, nor did Norris. But he else seems to have gotten a clean one in, and we are P6, P7, now 7, 8. For now, you figure Hamilton's also faster. Bottas, Norris, Pourchaire, Albin, last 2 cars out, but we should be fine on the timing. Expect 2 of these guys to improve. That could mean P9, P10 for us. This might be tight. And of course, Monaco above all other tracks, you want good qualifying. You really want good qualifying. I think even though we have good cornering, the fact that we have poor acceleration, not necessarily top speed, but acceleration is what is costing us here, and why we haven't seen something better. Hamilton splits, so Pourchaire is still ahead of Hamilton, and we've already done enough to see Q3. Pourchaire ahead of Bottas, and Albin barely improves. So Albin's struggling through qualifying here so far. Seeking our Q3 banker lap, we've got clear track. Gasly will be well out of our way by the time we finish our banker lap. And Pourchaire, again, over a third of a second, or not third, over a tenth of a second ahead of Albin. We, of course, used the Q2 clean run set, so it is partially used. But we are keeping 1 set fresh for the race. And even with the used set, we find ourselves in P4, P7. Pourchaire, that was a pretty solid lap, and we've got the better tires for the last run. Can he keep that position? That would be a nice, very, very solid starting position for us. A 110, almost flat for Perez, with Leclerc just behind that. Verstappen, off pace. Looks like he's got a better time in him. Sainz and Russell, all 3 of them. And there you go. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Gasly going out first probably will not improve his time as he's out front like that. That is a solid time from Aston Martin. They've always been good on low-speed corners, but did not expect that kind of time from the Aston Martin. Okay, Pourchaire. There's Sandoval up the hill. Heading through Casino Square. Tightest turn on the calendar. Through the tunnel. Onto the casino there. Gasly does not improve. Hamilton does not improve. Past the swimming pool. And into La Rascasse. Still P5 and P8. Verstappen goes up. Now P6, P9. Now P7, P10. We do need to improve if we are going to move up the grid. Pourchaire barely improves. Albin, same time as Hamilton. That is only P7 and P10. Not great on the pace. I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it every race. Not every. Most every race. But we are better in DRS than we are in open air. That extra pace and timing things right will make some overtakes. The field, very close together.
It's race day, and final preparations are underway.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. It was a pleasure to watch Red Bull's excellent performance during qualifying. Their drivers will now be looking ahead to the race itself and hoping to capitalize. And the weather is sunny here today, apart from a few clouds. Let's hope they remain scattered on the horizon.
So as the drivers prepare to weave their way around the streets of Monaco, you have to think there'll be twists and turns aplenty.
Strategy is straightforward. Take a one-stopper and make it work. The softs might be a quicker way off the line, and getting off the line is definitely going to be important for positions. But I already know it's possible for us to make passes. However, trying to stretch to make a one-stopper work makes passing a lot more difficult. But with DRS, we can conserve tires and then make little runs when we need to, and use the ERS especially. So medium to hard is what we're aiming for instead of soft to hard, because softs don't go as long. The hard then has to go really long to the end of the race, which means in the final laps, those who do go soft to hard are going to struggle. They're going to struggle in the final laps, and that can be a good opportunity to gain a position or two right at the end of the race. Let's hope we don't lose a position or two off the line. We certainly will not be pushing. As you can see, we've got to make them last 33 laps, and even then that's going to be right down to about 30%, and the hard's right down to about 32% at the end. So having two good drivers who can conserve is definitely going to be important for race pace. I think during pit stops, we're going to see pace really change for some of these cars. We're going to underfuel by 2 laps, which should get us a little quicker off the line, so we can keep that P7 and P10, but also give us enough lightness in the vehicle to make the moves that we need to make. And especially when pit stops come, we're going to have to really, really push during that stretch. So that's where we want to ultimately make our move, is through the overcut, undercut, whichever the case may be. And in this case, I'm thinking overcut because we're doing medium hard, where others are going soft hard. So once they're pitting and track opens up, that's where we're going to want to take off and find some pace that we are conserving early on in this race.
Now we should have good weather for the race, and that will be welcome news for the teams. Looking at the Williams now. They might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. And then we've got Alex Albon. They're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. And we're just moments away now. We're here and the streets are abuzz at the Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
I'm kind of happy that we're actually starting this far down, because it really goes to show how, qualifying is where a car belongs. What we do in races is different. And you see Porsche challenging Gasly right now. And we'll tuck in ahead.
Leave core increase, please.
Bring that on down to neutral. Meanwhile, Albon almost lost P10 off the start, but he got it back. So he's now firmly P10, right behind Hamilton, which is definitely not going to be an easy pass. So let's settle in as well.
So lift and coast level 3. Yes.
And until we have DRS, I don't think we're going to be trying to make too many moves happen. His passes are really challenging here. Sainz more than a second down on Leclerc is definitely not where we need to be, and Hamilton more than a second down on Bottas is not where we need to be. Of course, that means passing Hamilton might be easier if he loses DRS, and maybe Hamilton can then push to recover and get within DRS range of the cars ahead. Lap 3, DRS is enabled. So we only have one DRS zone here, and it's a short one. You don't get the benefit as much as you do on other tracks, which is a little problematic for us. It's not our strong suit in the first place. Hamilton out of DRS range. Sainz is definitely out of DRS range as well. Fortunately, Ricciardo, just behind Albon there, is also well out of DRS range already. So at least it's not one big train of 20 cars. Albon has a look on Hamilton. Slow that down. Let's help him push and get beyond him.
If you've got any pace left,
That DRS working.
Okay.
Getting us side by side. Can we complete the move? And we do. Okay, go ahead and go standard. Hopefully he has enough pace to catch up. We'll see what his pace is like. He's already at 1.5.
You can afford to drop back.
Let's go aggressive just for a little bit here.
We're happy to push.
So I think really what we need to be doing is turn the engine up, not pushing the tires.
And
We'll go
I
standard.
think you can reduce lifting coast.
Overtake. Use these two, not this one. We need those tires to last. And this is just to get back into the train here, the Sainz train. Sainz now 2.5 back.
Okay, we can use the overtake.
Yep, okay.
Already down to 1 second. So he's pulled back half a second quite quickly there. No DRS this time. So we'll drop us back slightly. But as we continue to push, I have a feeling we'll get up there soon enough. Go aggressive just for a little bit. Let's get within that DRS.
Pace now if you've got it.
We're nearly a second ahead of Hamilton, actually.
Yep,
So
copy.
the push here could be really good because then Hamilton doesn't end up getting the benefit of our tow. And we are now less than a second from those ahead. And we've closed that one right up. Back to standard. Keep the engine up for a little bit here as we come up on Bottas. And get further away from Hamilton. Double-edged sword on that one. Okay. And we've got it. We're where we want to be. Alright, so P6, P9 now. And we're in the train that is 5th to 9th. Good job by Albon there. Okay, I think what we're going to be doing in the short term is that Porsche is perfectly positioned behind Sainz and doesn't have the pace necessarily to catch the guys ahead. So Porsche, we're happy in P6. Albon, meanwhile, is going to want to go forward. So to go forward means we're going to have to use more tires. We're going to have to be more aggressive, and that's going to be a thing. Now, one other advantage we have that we never talk about, or at least haven't talked about in a long time, is how not only do we have an advantage with DRS, but we have an advantage when it comes to
Happy to increase pace.
Okay, copy.
we have an advantage when it comes to dirty air, following another car closely. We follow easier than other cars. We are number one when it comes to following other cars. As you can see, Hamilton and Ocon battling each other behind, and we've closed up a little bit here on Bottas, but not much. Hamilton getting back ahead of Ocon. Is out of DRS range, but not by far. Ricciardo's dropping back quite quickly, though. We're 4.6 down. The front guys are pulling away quite quickly. Sainz is 4 seconds down. Verstappen has lost the train ahead as well, so could the top two start to pull away? Albon putting a little more pressure on Bottas this lap. Trying to get close behind. And now we're going to use the overtake. And let's try to attack as well. DRS up beside the McLaren. And then we continue up the hill. And we complete the move. Okay. Alright, there's one down. Well, one more down. Now it's P8 for
And there's
Albon.
an overtake from Williams.
Okay, there's a big crash.
And we have a crash. We have a crash. We got an AlphaTauri. They are stopped.
We've had a crash.
It's Vettel
Let's take a
crashing on
closer
turn
look.
3.
Now look at this. It was the Alpha Tauri driver involved. Dear
Lost
me,
it there.
they
That's
won't have been expecting
a
that.
high speed corner flat out. And you start braking
And
kind
that was a
of just as you
bitter blow
exit
for
there. Porsche still leading this group, by the way. Five seconds behind. So our pace is no better than Sainz was. Maybe even worse. It's actually making it easier for Albon to progress. Now Albon gets a little bit closer. Porsche. Gap's holding steady. He's got a similar pace to Russell right now. Now, I never did bother to check strategy. Wow, we do have 3 guys on the hards. Now you can see why Ricciardo is dropping back and bringing this whole group with him. Stroll and Schumacher also on the hards. Porsche, Sainz, and Albon are the only medium runners. So these guys are going to be pitting much earlier, which means later in the race, even though we are on a one-stopper and they are pulling away a little bit, they are going to have some tire wear issues at the end of the race. So us being 9 seconds behind Perez is not the end of the world. They will pit earlier, though. They will have additional pace advantage over us at that stage. But as they're pitting earlier, like I said, we'll have a pace advantage at the end when those tires fall off, which they are absolutely going to fall off here. Stretching for a one-stopper is not easy at Monaco. So Ocon and Hamilton have caught up to our train. And then Bottas was nearly fallen off the back there from Albon. Himself nearly out of DRS range, but not quite. Porsche now just 4.5 seconds behind, so he's actually gaining on Perez. So Russell was faster when he was leading than Perez. Perez gets around and struggles. Albon very close to Gasly, and Gasly on the verge of losing DRS. So I think we're going to have to push this time to try to make a pass on Gasly. Meanwhile, behind, Bottas now 2.7 down, so we have opened that gap. And Porsche are closing up on the guys ahead. Not really Perez that we're closing up on. It looks like it's Verstappen who's falling off. Verstappen 3.5 seconds back now, and dropping back with him is Leclerc. If he doesn't get DRS, we'd have an easy pass. It's lap 22 of 78. Approaching the 1/3 point of this race, and that group behind is now almost 4 seconds back, and Ricciardo's group another 12 seconds back, really opening up. The field is getting spread. Vettel in last place goes around Sandoval as the leaders enter swimming pool section. They're getting closer to lapping the back end of the field than the other way around. It's well over half a lap. Oof, battery empty already. All I did was turn on an overtake. And we are going to get up to side Ocon, though. Or Gasly, that is. Let's go neutral, though. Continue the attack. And we complete the move. But we are 1.2 seconds down. So, dropping to aggressive. And let's try to close up on those guys ahead.
Just gained by Williams.
1.1 down. And the good thing here is we are just trying to match Porsche's pace. Ocon 3.5 seconds down, and Albon up to P7 after a start of 10 and off the line down to 11. Quickly back up to P10, and we have slowly made our way past 3 cars into P7 and covered a couple gaps that we have. We're also well inside that 1 second now, so back down to standard. And Pourchaire leads this thing. Also just 2.7 behind the guys ahead now. He's got good pace. Speaking of, no wonder that pace is looking good, because those on the soft compounds, under 40% now, they are dropping back. They are off the pace. We are gaining. Now, of course, once they have the fresh tires, they'll be turning around and gaining on us, but we are already negating what gains they initially had. Gasly,
So be mindful of that.
871. Albon, push. Let's get out
Do
there.
a bit more pace now if you've got it.
Got it.
Vettel in the pits. I thought I heard wheel guns. Vettel, first car to pit. And no wing flap open, so good. We've gotten Gasly out of the picture. Ocon, Bottas, Hamilton out of the picture. They are dropping further and further back, and this is all about Pourchaire's pace now. Albon, go ahead and go back to standard. Now we've got to start thinking about the other two factors here as we close up on our teammate plus Sainz. Albon, from where he's at, has gone deeper. He's used 6% more on the tires. They're definitely not in as good of a state. Our fuel, not quite as good of a state. And our battery is not empty, but it's down there. So we need Albon, once he closes up a little bit, we need Albon to start refilling the battery and trying to do something about the fuel a little bit, like we tried momentarily before, but it's really hard on a day like this. Turn the engine down for a little bit.
Increase lifting coast.
Yeah, okay.
Not through here though, not through here. Give the acceleration.
Okay, reduce lift and coast.
Okay, copy.
Okay, then you can back off a little bit.
Let's reduce lifting coast by
Back
one
off
level.
more. Can't back off
Okay.
much when you're already 8/10ths down.
And,
Turning the engine down
we
is
think
not
you
helping
can
us today.
reduce lifting coast.
Perez and Leclerc and Gasly all into the pits. And Albon has lost those front guys. Being below 50% is showing. And them being below 30% is really showing in their pace as well. So that's now P3, P5. And all of these early pitters are going to try to undercut us. Perez, Russell, Verstappen are all the way up in P5, 6, and 7. Ricciardo dropped that far back that he has not caught those guys. And then Leclerc is P9. Alonso, Tsunoda, Magnussen, and 4 guys at the front. So 7 in all on the mediums. Set to go to the hards. Okay, we are extending for now because why not? Based on our strategy as it is, as Hamilton enters the pits, we are not going to pit yet with Pourchaire. We are not going to pit yet with Albon, but Albon at 38% is going to attack, well, aggressive anyway, for 1.5 more laps. Being that we were on the mediums, there was no way an undercut was going to do anything for us other than with Sainz. Sainz is the only one where that undercut might be a thing. So for Pourchaire, as we go to 41%, he's going to start driving aggressive for at least another lap and a half before he pits as well. All we are doing at this point is fixing our tire life for the end of the race, because the guys on the softs were always going to pit first. Out on the hards, 2.771. Still not a great stop. We have not been having a great start to the season when it comes to pit stops. And there is Sainz ahead of us as we head up. So we are a few seconds behind Sainz, but we are ahead of Gasly and the others. And I'll slow this thing down for a minute. We do want to push and get Can we get more than a second ahead of Gasly? Please. I don't want to give him... I don't want to give him tow.
Go push.
Yes.
7 tenths. Try to finish this lap. 8
Let's
tenths.
reduce lifting
By
coast.
getting out of DRS range of those guys. We do not want to be bringing them along with us. Especially when Pourchaire has yet to pit. Pourchaire starts the next lap, still in the lead. Perez just 3 seconds behind though. Having pit earlier. You're more than a second ahead of Gasly. Perez back into the race lead. Russell, P2. Verstappen, P3. Hard compound, better stop for Pourchaire, 2.65. And there is his teammate, Albon, almost side by side, but Pourchaire is ultimately ahead. A push.
You can afford to drop back.
Yep, copy.
Gasly closes up though, as Albon had to get out of it because of Pourchaire. So Pourchaire, 1.2 down on Ricciardo. We want to get in range almost immediately here. Let's go aggressive, not full attack.
Okay, back off.
Albon, what happened, buddy?
You want to leave?
I know you had to back out of it, but we drive away from those guys. So P7, P8 for now. Looks like Gasly is going to get DRS this time, I think. He does. Not ideal. Okay, Ricciardo. Ricciardo is a detriment because he's on the one stopper going the other way. He's on the hard compound. So getting past him was important. Now we have that tire advantage, but we're 17 seconds down, so stretching by that lap or two. Looks like we lost. Well, we're only 3 seconds behind Sainz, but it does look like we lost a little bit from the pace that these guys have. But we have that pace now, and they get up on your teammate. And a slow Ricciardo as Ricciardo blocks, weaving all over. He went right, he went left, he went right again, he went to the middle. He blocked us 3 times there.
You're doing very good. Lap time out good. Lap time out good.
We've got to get past. Oh, what was that? When we went to pull out from Ricciardo, we backed off. We backed off and we lost a car length, but we do get past him after Sandoval up the hill. We're already on that edge.
Push on with the
Just
tyres.
make it happen.
Okay.
1 second. 1 second is the advantage. Three and a half behind his teammate. He lost a lot of ground there. Taking that much longer to get past Ricciardo. We also have no battery and no way to recharge right now, but we are well out of distance. Fuel's the next thing, and he's worse off, so we are going to have to back off soon. Gasly around Ricciardo? No, again, back and forth. 6 seconds ahead of Gasly, who does ultimately get ahead of Ricciardo, and Ricciardo instantly loses his wheel, slowing up his teammate now. 1.4. Fuel looking much better, and Gasly down to 5.5. Alright, the tire advantage looks like this. Ricciardo still needs to pit, probably will soon. Stroll, Schumacher both need to pit, probably will soon. We are very much a lead lap car today. I have no issue believing that we will make it to the end. These guys are going to go to the end, and our tire wear advantage, well, it's kind of marginal, but even Albon, with a little extra push, still has an advantage over them, so that's good. Fuel's the concern going forward. And Pourchaire, if he can get up there, we definitely want to get up there to signs. So maybe let's ride with Pourchaire for a little bit, and let's drive aggressive. Let's see what happens with that interval, driving aggressive. Albon went from 2 laps down on fuel to now 1, but we're down to 28 laps. But Pourchaire at 1.7. The idea is to get up behind signs and then take care of that as well. 1.5. We've barely used any battery chasing him down, so that's good. In fact, it looks like we haven't used any yet because it's on overtake, not deploy. 1.5. This is just from driving aggressive. 1.3. Looks like DRS is worth 0.3 of a second. I mean, it's a pretty good gain. But what about the fueling? That went out pretty quick. Can't conserve for long if we want to keep within DRS range, but we're going to have to yo-yo back and forth and get the fuel right. 26 laps to go, so we don't have a lot of time to mess with this. So after Saint-Devat, that's where we want to go conserve. We use the DRS, close them up. Ooh, somebody just came out of the pits right there. And now you have the position you need. That's an Alfa Romeo. Back up. Are we? Quite where we need to be this time. Close it up a little further. Now we can conserve for a little bit. We're at 1.5 now. And turn it back up. There's really only one spot every lap where we can turn the engine down a little bit and just slowly get what we need. Okay, Albon's going to turn it down for just a little bit as he's extended by a second over Gasly. We'll give up that second. He's doing a 2-stopper. He's got a definite pace advantage with the softs, but being a lap car, he's going to be stuck behind us. Getting defensive on our driving there, not helping things. We don't need to defend an Alfa Romeo who's a lap down. And so we stay half a second behind because we were busy defending instead of closing down signs. He remains 0.6 ahead. Albon, meanwhile, Gasly, that gap almost back down to 5 seconds again. Schumacher. That is the last place car, Schumacher, easily keeping up with us because he's on the soft compound. He, Stroll, and Vettel are a lap down. And we set the fastest lap of the race not that long ago. Okay, anybody looking like they're going to struggle? Vettel at 58%, Zhou, Gasly, Perez, but otherwise everybody's between 60 and 68. So Vettel is at least one of the cars that's just ahead of us. And Stroll is the other one. As the AlphaTauri, probably going to get out of the way here soon. Down to 1.0. Yeah, so that's keeping us at 0.7. But we also need to now get past, and do get past. Do we keep our gap? It went out a little bit. 0.8. Okay, Albon. Still kind of holding steady here. Let's do the same for you. Drive aggressive, but conserve.
push through.
Nervous
all
about how
corners.
many laps are left. It's
Yep,
just
copy.
14. Alright. The AlphaTauri is holding up Schumacher. Schumacher definitely had better pace than him. He's all over the back of him, but can't seem to get past. Porsche right now very, very close to Sainz as we're driving aggressively, but we are more easily able to get the fuel where it needs to go. So we're going to run like this for a couple laps and see what this does for our two drivers. Okay, Gasly 4 seconds behind now. Porsche. Albon, so very close to where we need him to be, but he is holding just about a 2.5 second gap, so we'll be able to turn this back up quite soon, but I'm rather nervous about that gap getting smaller behind him. There we go. He's got a positive delta. Let's get a 0.1. Let's get him a 0.1. And then we'll go back to normal for him. Porsche, second down. Speed up, please. But I think we're going to need some spare fuel if we are going to make a pass on Sainz. I think driving aggressively and using the battery will, by itself, not do it. Okay, back to conserve.
Leave core increase, please.
We're at 0.4. 0.3 now. Almost there. Gap back out to closing in on 3 seconds, but he's 20 seconds behind Porsche. So Albon, looking like P7, is his place. Almost a second behind here. Good thing we turned that back up just in time. Caught that just in time. Down to 0.2 on the negative. Positive delta for Porsche, and actually even a +1 now. Still not enough yet to attempt an overtake. We need a +3 to turn the engine up for the overtake. All right, balanced. That's close to 0.3. All right, let's ride on board with Porsche for the remainder of this race. It's lap 75 of 78, and now lap 76 begins as Perez, still in the race lead, crosses the line. He's 5 seconds ahead of Russell, so 1 and 2 is very secure. Verstappen in 3 at 5 seconds back. 1, 2, 3. The whole podium is very, very secure. However, Sainz actually just starting to fall off of Leclerc a little bit. So he's 1.9 behind.
There's 3 laps left.
And we close that up. And even having a look here. So that's good. We are nice and close. Next lap, we are going to try to get around Sainz. We know where that's got to happen. Tire wear is not our friend anymore. He's at 47. We were a percent or two ahead. Now we're way behind. And that was what it took to get the fuel right. But it's going to make the overtake much harder. We have the battery. 2.9, so that's holding steady. We see you lose a little bit of ground through as we enter the tunnel. Go into the casino. Okay. Overtake on.
Remember, overtake is available.
Fuel up as we go to Larascas. There we go. Fuel up. And we will turn the overtake or attack on. We're close, but you see he's got better acceleration. But here we are on the attack, and we are up beside Sainz, and we are past him. We are past Sainz. Comfortably past. Aggressive.
You're doing a good job.
Balanced. Save that fuel. Keep that overtake on. We're just 1.3 behind Leclerc. Into P5.
Just gained by
So that's
Williams.
P5, P7 now. We've got 2 overtakes to deal with here to get Leclerc. As that is Stroll. Stroll just behind him, not able to overtake him because of the whole you're down a lap blue flag thing. In real life, you can. If you're faster than, you could drive around them. Still 1.3 down though. Push a little bit through here. Close that gap. If we can get within 1 second, we'll get DRS. So on the final lap though, where are you going to make the overtake? Woo! Glad that wall wasn't there, or that wall. We've got to push and attack through here. This is the only place we can make it happen, because it's going to be last lap, so deploy, full deploy. Coming from an awful long ways back, but we are up beside Leclerc, and we will continue up the hill.
Use the rest.
All you got to do is get past him, and it looks like we've managed to do so.
Last lap, last lap.
Are we ahead? We are ahead. So we've done it. We've gone from P6 to P4 right at the
And there's
end.
an overtake from Williams.
Beautiful move from Porsche. I did not think we were going to get Leclerc. Sainz felt like we could always just about get it if we could get the fuel right. And we did. We got the fuel right. Just barely. We had just enough fuel. But we got not one, but 2 overtakes done before the end. Yeah, tires overheating. Down to 34%. That's all good. Yeah. Great run from Porsche, though, to get those 2 in the last 2 laps of the race. Perez takes a win. Russell, P2. Verstappen completes P3
Perez
from
has crossed the line
15th a year
first.
ago. That's going to be P4 and fastest lap for Porsche. Leclerc 5, Sainz 6, and here comes Albon, well behind, but P7 is his. After starting in P7 and P10, that is both cars up 3 spots from where they started.
Tires up.
And Porsche getting 2 of those right at the end. We did have Sainz earlier in the race, but he undercut
That's the
us,
flag.
got back ahead, and it took us a long time to get up to him.
Yeah, copy. Nice job. Nice job.
I think it was a very smart move
Okay,
to
lap.
get up on his wheel, use that DRS to just slowly eke out the fuel load the way we did. And it set us up perfectly for the run right at the end. And it worked out. Worked out. P4, P7, good result. Not great points. Red Bulls 1 and 3. They'll be back on top of the constructors. No podium today, but our bogey track. Got both drivers in the points, including a P4 and a fastest lap. It's a decent haul of 19 points today. Perez alone had 25 though. So, yeah, drivers still P2, P3. Porsche closing in a little bit, and in the constructors, back down to P2. Ultimately, I think where we belong. We are 15 points down on the Red Bull, but still looking good. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.